Hi, I'm Jack Coker, founder of Performance Water Polo Camps and head coach at Pepperdine University men's water polo program. I put together a couple instructional videos for you to take your game to the next level. In these instructional videos, I've incorporated body movement in the water, some passing and shooting techniques and skills, offensive perimeter game as well as defensive game, and then we really focus on the 2-meter position with the offense and defense. I've also incorporated some strength and conditioning videos that would help your fitness level take it to the next level, whether that is a high school game or a college game. Let's get out there and let's get started. This is where I get excited, to have the chance to help my players learn to dominate their opponent on the perimeter offensive game. It is a great feeling when you can manipulate your opponent, to think that you're going one way and going the other, to have him think that you might be shooting a wrap and maybe over the head. We will show you some techniques, some body movement positions to elevate your game to manipulate your defending player. In the perimeter game, we're going to teach you some techniques to be 2, 3, possibly 4 steps ahead of your opponent. The key here is the fast twitch. If you go slow on this drive, the defense will allow you to go and guard you tightly. But if you go fast twitch, it's going to make him think you're going on that drive, which makes him go to a couple strokes. Once he goes to a couple strokes, you can backtrack, step back over your legs into the vertical, receiving that ball from the other player. And then either shooting the ball or passing it to set. From the above angle camera, you'll notice the separation that the offensive player receives once he comes back over his hips into the vertical. Notice the separation gives him time to react, time to think, time to take the next step, either a shot or a pass. Here you see the point player making it look like he goes on a hard drive. The defensive player slacks off and he allows the ball to come back to him on a strong release. We practice this drill with our college guys every day. This drill starts off with the 2 strokes to the ball side, establishing or re-establishing ball side with your defender, receiving and popping and rotating your hips around. Now it's important that your hips rotate around the surface of the pool, not drop underneath you. You'll notice that on the underwater camera. Once your hips rotate around, it digs into the defense, and your shins and your knees go into the defense, which allows that upper body separation, which allows you to keep the ball alive without a foul. The other key thing to this is keeping your outside hand receiving the ball or controlling the ball. The outside hand, he rotates his hips, goes to that 45 or split egg beater as he's protecting the ball with his outside hand. Never bring the ball in front of your face where the defense can steal the ball. It's important for you to practice the advanced release both with your left hand and right hand, receiving the ball from your left side as well as receiving the ball from your right side. Make sure that you can do this drill to perfection, having to pass the ball to either triangle. Here the 4 player, look how hard he goes on his drive and he steps back over his hips to get that ball on a release. That drive release is such a crucial movement, enabling the ball to get from one triangle to the next. In the dig pop drill, you're trying to get the defense to step over his hips. Once he goes to the vertical, he can't come back out to you. So once he's in the vertical, you can step away back over your legs, creating separation between you and your defender to receiving that ball and either shooting that quick redirect shot or putting the ball to set. You'll notice in the slow motion, the slip stroke of the arms is making the defender think that you're going on a swim or a drive. And really, you're not moving at all. You're just digging the water and jumping back over your legs back into that vertical position where you can pass the ball. The 2-stroke release is great for a player who is smaller and being dominated by a more physical or bigger player. Your 2-stroke release is you're making your arms move, and you got to step with the inside hand. If you want to move to your left, you got to get that right hand in front of your defender to create that ball side option. Now it's very important that you keep your arms moving. If the referee sees them grabbing your arms, it's an ejection. So this is great for that 2-stroke release. So in that two-stroke release, you'll also notice that hand that takes that big sweeping stroke in front of the defender's body is also, as soon as it hits the water, it becomes a shield. Now you're defending them off with your forearm, keeping your legs in a vertical position to receive that ball, to stay vertical, not allowing your defender to come in, foul you, and control you. In your two-stroke release drill, you'll also notice your legs in a position where you're in a horizontal position at the beginning. But then you have to step back over your legs into a vertical. You'll have one leg on your foundation leg that's holding you up. Your other leg is putting you in a position where you can still maintain your ground, not allowing the defender to push you back. That split egg beater is very important to this when receiving the ball. The right back drill is great to work on when your defender is pressing you hard and your teammate needs you to get the ball right back to him live. You have to get your arms moving. Show the referee you're being held and get that left hand or right hand coming across ball side in front of the defender, very similar to your two-stroke release. But as soon as that one stroke comes across, you're immediately popping to get it hand free to pass the ball right back to your offensive player. The right back drill is not often practiced in your programs. Make sure that you utilize this drill as much as you can because it is used in a game very often. Drive-up releases can be used in many different aspects. This is when a player from above you drives down and you need to fill that or balance out the water. You're releasing hard, driving up into the lane to receive the ball into your triangle. Now what's important here is to maintain or contain ball side, not allowing that defense to jump in front of you or jump behind you. Once that ball is coming to you, stop being in the horizontal and go to a protecting wall. Go to more of a 45 or a vertical position with your legs, not allowing the defense to touch the ball. One of the first things you need to notice is in your drive release, your up drive release, is that first hand, the first quick ball side hand. If you can get that inside and maintain that inside, you're gonna have a nice release from your next player. You can also use this drill to allow you to self high post up. A high post up is receiving the ball at 5 meters and getting a foul and taking your direct shot. So on a step over release, this is when the defense is in kind of a soft press. They're not really fully pressing you and you just need to do a quick release to get the ball to the opposite triangle to your next player. In a step over release, you're stepping over your hips, coming across your body and passing to the next guy. You can receive this ball from your left side or to your right side. But it's from that horizontal position to the vertical position, stepping away and creating space between you and your defender. Right here, you'll notice that the body is in more of a 45-degree angle in a pivot situation, and he's releasing back over his back leg, putting himself in the opposite 45-degree angle to allow him to have separation between him and his defender. To add one more step to that last drill, that step over release. Now, when you receive the ball and you do a step over release and the defense stays off you and stays in the zone, you need to be able to go from stepping back to coming across your body and stepping back over your legs to get into attack. Remember, your job is to make the defense play you. If they're not honoring you, you have to get them back to honoring you. This allows yourself to be one step ahead of your defense to make the next move or successful move. Here you'll notice the leg and hip action. The player is in a 45 protecting the angle right here when the player is on his press. When the player drops off him, you'll notice the hips and the legs go back over himself. This allows him to get back to the vertical and back to a faking and aggressive action. To reiterate myself on the importance of perimeter game, the offensive game on the perimeter is so important to establish your positioning or your offense attack. It doesn't do you any good if your 2-meter man can set a triangle if you cannot successfully get the ball to that triangle and have live entry passes a set. These drills will help you make the defense think you're doing one thing and in yet making you successful with the live entry pass set. Get out there and practice these as much as possible. Stunt move. This is almost like a shake and bake in basketball. If you can get your defender thinking you're going one way and cutting back the other way, it allows you to be one step or one stroke ahead of your defender. If you notice in this move, your offensive player is creating a lot of white water, a lot of quick twitch movements. You've got to really sell that first movement. If you can sell it, you're going to get that defender going one way, which is going to make it easier for you to cut back the other way. One small thing you can see on your underwater camera here is the arm that once you cut across, that the other hand can move that defender to the side and allows you to take a stroke in front of that defender to get that ball side if you wish. That stunt move is also great just to make your defense think about you, even if you don't even want to do anything. You're just moving, you're creating space, you're making him focus on you. You never want your own defender to try to help somebody else out. Keep him occupied with stunt moves. Elbow control. This is one of my favorite things to be able to do as a driver offensive player. If I can maintain the elbow of the defensive player, I can learn to maneuver him in a way that I want him to go. I can get inside water, I can make him think I'm going inside water and coming back out and receiving the ball. If you notice, controlling the elbow on a player actually is able to maneuver the entire body. You'll see in this elbow control drill that the offensive player grabs the elbow with the outside hand and takes a big stroke with his inside hand as though he looks like he's just swimming by the defender, even though he is grabbing the defensive player. The offensive player, once he grabs this big move, he cuts to the inside with the big stroke and tries to gain inside water. Here on these next couple of clips, the defender does a great job of spinning out of the elbow control, but the offensive player is one step ahead. When that defensive player turns his back to him, he steps back over his hips, receives the ball, or he cuts across his body and goes back the other way. These are setup moves. The inside stroke is that inside hand gaining that ball side or inside water position. The only thing that's going to allow you to do this is with a big breaststroke kick to get you in that position. If you can establish that first stroke, you've established control or an advantage on your defender. Once you have that inside game, stop. Hold it, contain it, get your hips back up, and then release again. Don't just take off for the races. The grind to shin release is probably one of the most important key aspects of offensive drive. If you can learn this drill, you will learn how to separate from your defender like the best of them. Here the offensive player is grinding into him with an inside stroke. He rotates his hips into the defensive player. After he makes contact with his hips, his shins moves up the body of the defensive player and brushes off the defensive player, which allows him to have great separation. It's important that you don't kick with the bottom of your foot because the defensive